Hi everyone, it's Tamara again with the homestead, well, with the Butts family homestead. So I just got done giving a tour of the garden from our summer planting, and I also wanted to come on and share a little bit of my focus going forward this fall. Something that I'm hearing a lot about on my YouTube channels that I follow is get your house in order. And I think that can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. But when I first started hearing that, and I kind of blew it off and didn't really think much about it, and I kept hearing it, and I thought, is my house in order? What about my house is in order? And I realized that it wasn't in order. So I broke it down into categories, and really over the last 3 weeks, I have been chipping away at ensuring that our house is in order. The world has a lot of crazy stuff going on in it right now, and I think a lot of what families need is a very structured, calm home environment. And if your house is not in order, then it is going to be the opposite of calm. And I think a lot of us are living in that environment. So moving forward, I wanted a change for my family. And the first category that I have been focusing on is our food. Now, I'm not talking about our garden. I am talking about, because we are trying to move towards a homestead lifestyle, but we are not huge producers. The only thing as of right now that we produce ourselves, we have egg-laying hens, and I make bread. And that's it. So we get the majority of everything our family eats from the grocery store. So I made sure that I have a monthly meal plan going into the month, and that I have all of the ingredients that I need for the next 30 days to prepare those meals. And last year when all of this started, I did the same thing. But I would get a month prepared, and then I would just not go to the grocery store that entire month. And so my stockpile would deplenish. And so what I'm doing this time is I am doing a menu plan for the month. I'm making sure that I go into the month with every ingredient I need to prepare those meals, those snacks. But then I'm also still going to the grocery store each week and replenishing from the previous week's depletion, so that I am not ever looking at my refrigerator, my freezer, and my pantry and having anything less than 4 weeks of food in my house. So that's number one. That's food. And number two is operating procedures within our home. Something that really kind of sparked this interest and was watching Carolyn over at the Homesteading Family. She is a homeschool mother of 9. They homestead up in North Idaho, I think. And her operating procedures for her family are just amazing. And it really showed me that I'm missing the mark. And so what I did first of all is I started a block schedule for our family. We are going to start slowly rolling this out as school approaches, because if you change something so drastic right away with your family, it is not going to go over well. You have to do it slow and gradually so that they don't even really notice that there are changes happening. So I have a block schedule, and I tend to have OCD tendencies, so I cannot go minute by minute. If I try, I am going to end up focusing more on the task and the home, not the family and the relationships that I have been tasked to steward during the day. And ultimately, as a homeschooling mom, that's where my focus should be. It should be on the relationship and development of my children, not my checklist. So I find that this block schedule is more of just a flow of what to expect after each event. So our children know I've implemented this a little bit already. So our children know after breakfast, you start your morning chores. And our morning chores consist of 5 things. And that's brush your teeth, go tinkle, make your bed, get dressed, and clean your room. There's no question what happens after breakfast. And I think that's how the entire day should be. Now, there may be some days that we have breakfast at 6:30. There may be some days that we have breakfast at 8 o'clock. It doesn't matter. But the flow of the day needs to stay the same. And I have found that my children crave that consistent flow. And I have less tantrums. I have less fights amongst my children when they know what the day should look like. So, number 1, food. Number 2, home operating systems. Number 3 is another area that we're getting in order is our garden, homestead / YouTube. So something that Jason and I have found ourselves getting into is we have no structure when it comes to our garden and our YouTube. We plant what we think is in season, or we may have something that we say, oh, this would be a cool idea to do. Let's take a video of that. And we find that there has just not been a lot of success with that particular way of doing things. So what I have done, and I actually left it inside. I had my calendar. I did this part today because we are gearing up for the fall garden. I did this summer garden tour, the summer recap, earlier today. As you can tell, I'm in the same clothing, so this is video 2 that I'm filming today. But there wasn't a lot of success, and we want it to be different. So the thing that we are changing about the upcoming fall and getting our house in order with our garden is I have a growing guide. And I'm old school, so I have a wall calendar. I use a pencil. I need a new one because I'm kind of using this one as a draft as I'm getting all of my fall stuff together. But I have a growing, what do you call this? Like a growing chart, a growing something, for our region. And so it tells me what I can plant, when I plant it, or when I should plant it, if I'm planting plants, if I'm planting seeds, how far apart I should plant it, and how long until maturity. So what I did this morning after the garden tour is I sat down and I identified the crops, which ended up being 7 crops. It was lettuce, spinach, kale, carrots, onions, and another second round of cucumbers. And so I went through on my calendar and wrote in the date that each plant needs to be planted. And then I went through and I wrote on my calendar the harvest date. And also I went through and put in some just simple reminders throughout the week. We need to maybe water or mulch or do something. Just be attentive to our garden. In terms of getting our house in order, we have food, we have operating systems, we have our garden and YouTube. And last but definitely not least, our focus. We are getting our house in order of where we put our focus. There is a lot going on in the world. And I think it's very easy, especially for myself, to focus on what in the world is failing. And quite frankly, the thing that stresses me a lot is I think our food system is failing. And I spent a lot of time looking into the news and what's going on with farmers, what's going on with our climate. And I don't have a lot of faith in our food system anymore. I don't have a lot of faith that we're always going to be able to walk into the grocery store and have readily available everything we need when we need it. The industrialized food system was wonderful back when they started it, I would imagine. But right now, it is not serving our families well. And we have stepped so far away from families even having the victory garden that we are so reliant on the grocery stores that when things don't go well, where does your focus go? And so instead of putting our focus on the news, the virus, the grocery stores, we're putting it on the Lord. So we're getting our family in order ensuring that their focus is on the Lord and that we're investing in a relationship with the Lord. Now, that may look different for your family than our family, but for our family, we start the day with a morning devotion. And then quiet time. The little kids have picture Bibles, so we may sit them down and they look at their picture Bible, and Zach and I read, but our focus is a very important aspect of how well our day is going to go and how productive we are and living a purposeful life. So I think it's very important to keep that on the list of getting our family in, or getting our house in order. And so I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I hope that you guys can also look at your family and ask yourselves, where do we have room for improvement to get our house in order? And your list very well may look different from my list. But before I go, I did want to share a great resource. And this is a book that I picked up at a Mass General store, funny enough, when Zach was a baby. And I never, I guess, really thought about the title because it's the Backyard Homestead. And I remember when we moved here and Jason started talking about homesteading, and I remember I had to Google homesteading because I was like, what is homesteading? And it was here on my book all along. But it has great resources. You know, something that's great that I learned from this book is how to tell if my eggs are fresh or not. Now, if you get them from the grocery store, I don't think that this would really apply to you. But I know if you are using, if you're buying from someone who raises chickens and they sell their eggs, or if you do it yourself. But this is part of it that I have loved. They say if you put your eggs in a bowl of water, the fresh eggs sink and the old eggs float. Now, I don't really have to do this a whole lot anymore because we're using our eggs so frequently that they're really not sitting on the counter. And something else that I actually just ran across today, which I think will be really helpful, is how to cut up chicken. And even if you're buying your chicken from the grocery store, you may want to bring it home and you may want to cut it up and put pieces of it in the freezer. Now, something that we are doing that we're not talking a whole lot about is we received our meat chickens about 3 weeks ago. And from what I gather, the homesteading families that document their process of raising and processing their meat chickens, they get a lot of negative feedback, oftentimes even red flagged from YouTube. So I've decided that we're not going to put that on the channel, but I will say that I think the freedom that we have to be able to raise chickens, I mean, these chickens we take care of every day. We protect them, we feed them, we care for them, we make sure that they're in an environment that is good for them. And so I don't quite understand why it's so criticized to raise your own meat at home, but so accepted to buy it from the grocery store, because those chickens were processed as well. So, long story short, not to get into a mess, because I don't even know, this video may be flagged because of what I just said, but we're not going to be sharing that, but we are doing it, and I'm excited to do it. I'm excited for the kids to be involved and do it. I think it's great to know where your food comes from. Now, Evie and David may be too young. They may not want to be a part of it. Zach has already been a part of it once before. And I think that children and adults today probably need to know a little bit more about where their food comes from, their fruits, their vegetables, their meat. And that's just my opinion. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch our videos. And thank you for liking and subscribing to our channel. It helps our channel to grow. It helps the YouTube algorithm pick it up, and more people can see our video. I know we have a video right now that's up to 5,000 views, and we're loving that. So it's kind of exciting just to kind of keep track of how many views there are. But anyways, you guys, have a great day. Hope this was useful for you, and we will see you in the next video.